Before Hela destroyed Mjolnir in Thor Ragnarok, Mjolnir was one of the most powerful weapons in the entire Marvel universe, if you were worthy of wielding it. But you might have seen Thor, Love, and Thunder, or at least some of the trailers that showed Jane holding a brand new Mjolnir. Actually, not brand new one, a repaired one, because somehow it got fixed. So we don't have any dwarves that can repair and forge weapons using the heart of a dying star, but what we do have is 3D printing and concrete. So that's what we're gonna do today, is try to repair this hammer or recreate our own using a little 3D printing and concrete molding. See, when we first started this 3D printing channel, we searched some of the coolest things that people have been printing across the internet. We found the traditional items like phone stands, articulated toys, puzzle boxes. There's also the handyman items like vices, tool holders, battery holders. But one of the things that we found most interesting was the cosplay props from all different science fiction universes. There's obviously the Iron Man helmets, there's the Jurassic Park cryo cans, the portal guns, which we'll be showing off in an upcoming video, and even the vibro knife that we created from Star Wars, and we have that for sale on our Etsy page if you'd like to check that out and help support the channel. And there's so many other cool things that makers have created. We found a 3D printing file for a regular Mjolnir. We wanted to see what it would look like if we printed it up and how big it needed to be. And since Thor, Love, and Thunder just came out, we thought we were worthy enough to try to reforge this thing using the 3D printing technology. We hit the print button and it was roughly a 36-hour print. So we decided to print it over the weekend, and I mean, we got some pretty cool time-lapse footage. Unfortunately, there was a scheduled power outage, and they didn't tell us it was scheduled until 2 hours before it was scheduled, which happened to be Saturday night. So 30 hours into the 36-hour print, and the power goes off, the print is done, and now we just have a sad little shell of a 3/4 printed Mjolnir hammer made out of glow-in-the-dark filament. So, I mean, it does look pretty cool, especially since we can see all of the infill, and it does glow in the dark very nicely, but this doesn't quite work for our purposes. And honestly, since it was made out of plastic, it felt like one of those squeaky hammers that you can win at a fair by smacking the little thing, and then the bell goes wing, and then you waste $45 on it because your kids are like, yeah, Daddy, make you a cool hammer. And then you'll never do it again because you're sad inside. So a few weeks went by and we came up with a different idea. Our idea this time was to create a relief mold of the actual hammer itself so we could have the outside of it rather than the inside. We'd make some holes inside of it, pour in concrete, and shove in a handle, and we'd have a different Mjolnir. A heavy one because it's made out of concrete. It's the perfect plan. Nothing could have gone wrong. We started printing up the molds, which we needed to cut the relief box into 4 sections, add a cutaway hole for the PVC pipe, and then a few little holes for the air to escape at the top once the concrete would fill up the box. We also needed to print up a sieve to filter out the bigger pieces of aggregate from the concrete bag, cut the PVC pipe to length, and then we went outside to pour the concrete on the hottest day of the summer. It doesn't usually get too hot here in Fargo, but today was 97 degrees and the sun decided it had other plans for us, and it melted our brand new mold. But that's fine then. We didn't really like that mold anyway. It was a weak one, and it wasn't worthy of the loved ones it betrayed. So we spent another 26 hours printing up the mold and started the assembly. The PVC pipe was inserted, the edges of the molds were sealed with hot glue, and the concrete was mixed, ready to pour. As we were pouring the concrete, we realized another one of our mistakes that we should have thought about beforehand. The internal weight of the concrete was pressing against the sides of the mold and pushing the walls outward, kind of like if you were to blow up a balloon. It expands, and if there's a little failure in it, it explodes. Well, our mold exploded into a messy pile of wet concrete and overwhelming sadness. And now that we learned from our mistakes, we redesigned the mold to be slightly thicker, and so the hammerhead would have the imprints on it to look like it was cracked. The new mold turned out way better than we were expecting. As we packed the bottom of the mold into a container filled with sand, we wrapped the mold with a crap load of duct tape and poured 30 pounds of wet concrete into a new mold. We also forgot to plug the end of the PVC pipe, so wet concrete started dripping out of it. We had finally done it. We had 3D printed and concrete poured Jane's Mjolnir, but it was just locked inside of a plastic mold. So it was time to remove that mold to see what we had inside of it. And it was beautiful, a nearly perfect easel that needed to be sealed and painted. It just needed a bit of cleanup, a little bit of filing, a few coats of sealer, and then we glued on the filigree in the top round that we had 3D printed. We also spray painted it silver to create a very nice base coat that we could give it a weathered look with some gray paint. And then the imprinted cracks that we had from the mold, we filled those with a nice metallic blue paint to give it a look that we were looking for. And now that the hammerhead was finished, it was time to wrap the leather onto the PVC pipe handle. And after wrapping the leather, we added some silver bands on the end cap that we also 3D printed. And finally, Mjolnir was completed. This thing turned out way better than I expected it to. It's super heavy, like 35 pounds of concrete and plastic from the handle itself, but I mean, it's amazing. So we did learn a ton from this project. There were quite a few ups and downs, as you could see from this movie, but I mean, honestly, this thing turned out way better than I thought it would. So you'll have to let me know what you think of this project. I mean, this thing is awesome. It's 35 pounds, super heavy to handle around, but we are worthy of creating the hammer itself. So if you did enjoy this video, make sure you do hit the subscribe button right in there. Up in one of the top corners here is a video of us recreating a vibroblade from Star Wars. And if there's anything else you'd like us to recreate, let us know down below in the comments. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.